is why you're seeing this. That's why we continue to watch the decay of our society, and they keep doubling down on it. They think that if you stop punishing crime, at some point criminals will just stop committing it. They're going to kill crime with kindness. That is the messaging. That's the far left on crime. That's what they believe. Earlier this week, the Washington Free Beacon reported on this $30 million program to fund crack pipe distribution in order to advance racial equity. One of the funniest stories I've heard in a while. Now, 48 hours later, the White House is at least partly attempting to deny the report.
Does the administration support any effort then to distribute drug paraphernalia, like the types that we were hearing about?
The statement makes clear that we don't support federal funding, indirect or direct, for pipes.
The great thing about Psaki is whenever anything is not clear at all, and whenever they have no clue what they're doing and they get caught with their pants down, the first thing she says is, "It makes very clear." She just has that snarky little, "Oh, it's so clear. How could you have any confusion? Because we're so clear and we're so perfect." Sure. The same party that's totally fine with handing out syringes to heroin addicts would never in a million years hand out crack pipes to crack addicts. They would never do that, right? The short answer on this is they got caught. But the insight into their logic is what we need to focus on here. After watching San Francisco be destroyed by safe injection sites for heroin, the liberals in Washington still somehow decided to try and send out crack pipes. So they say, "Oh, wow, look at how awful we've done. Well, look what we've done to San Francisco. We've effectively destroyed this city. Let's do it again." How scary is that? There's no convincing these people otherwise. It literally is a cult, and it's a very dangerous one. And if you want to live well in America, and if you want a clean and safe city, your only choice is to vote dramatically differently, because these people will not stop until New York looks like Tijuana. Joining us now is Deputy District Attorney of Los Angeles County, John Hatami. Sir, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. I guess to start, why is it that, let's start with what we just said. We have a situation like we see in San Francisco. We have a situation where you've created this drug den of a city, and yet they don't learn anything, and they keep doubling down on policies like this. You see it in your city with your DA. They see how awful it's getting. They see more and more and more crime, and they just stick with it. Why is that?
Well, thank you for having me. I think that you have Bragg in Manhattan, you have Chesa Boudin in San Francisco, you have Krasner in Philadelphia, you have George Gascon in Los Angeles, and you have a few other of these prosecutors around the country that are all funded by George Soros. He's an individual who wants chaos in our country. These are prosecutors who don't care about America. They are prosecutors that are much more pro-criminal than they are public safety. All these prosecutors, when they first took office, Bragg and Gascon alike, had a memo or a directive, and they announced to the world all the crimes that they weren't going to prosecute. Now,
Right.
has anybody ever heard of a district attorney, and that's the first thing they tell everybody is, here's all the crimes that we're not going to prosecute?
And I understand that, and we've talked a lot about what Soros has done to our societies, but we're seeing it coming from mainstream places. I mean, how do you explain the White House in this attempt? They got caught, but they were intending to send out crack pipes to people, and you're seeing this come from other mainstream places as well. In New York, it wasn't Alvin Bragg that wanted to set up the drug dens in Harlem, something that Al Sharpton complained about as well. It's becoming mainstream, and I want to know if you have your finger on the pulse of the ideology behind this. And do they truly believe that it'll just get really, really bad, and then someday it'll just switch and it'll get good again?
I mean, I think they want it to be bad. Psaki, she laughed when they talked to her about, crime that's increasing. She thinks it's funny. I deal with child murders, children who are being murdered. You know that the murder rate in Los Angeles is at a 15-year high. The Grand Theft Auto rate is at a 64% higher than it was in 2019. I believe that many of these Soros or rogue prosecutors do not believe in America, do not believe in our country, do not believe in accountability or responsibility. I do think that they want chaos. I think they don't believe in prisons. They talk about abolishing prisons. People who are murdering children, who are raping individuals, they need to be in prison because it protects the rest of us. And so I think they just want chaos.
That's horrifying to imagine. To the credit of Alvin Bragg, and it's not to any credit at all, but in Manhattan, it has been funny to see him. He is now looking to charge thefts at a higher level. After we're seeing there's one guy carrying out all this meat from a store, and you've got all of these thefts. So now you've got a guy that came in under all of this Soros nonsense that believes in not charging anybody with crime, and then he gets a problem with crime, and now he all of a sudden wants to increase the penalties for crime. So it's like that's the slap in the face moment we've all been waiting for, where this fool says, "Oh wow, if I don't charge people with crimes and I go soft on crime, it doesn't work." And right there, it should be the proof in the pudding.
They're run by the media, Rob. So we all need to pay attention to this. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
They don't care about your children. They don't care about your family. They don't care about the fact that people are robbing trains in Los Angeles, or people are smash and grab burglary in all over Manhattan.
Yep.
They could care less about any of that. All they care about is the media. The only reason that Bragg changed his mind was because the media got on him. And so what does that tell you about his morals, his beliefs, and exactly what he believes in? And I want people to know this, which is important. My wife is a police officer.
Yeah.
And let me tell you this. If she gets killed in the line of duty, I want to know that there's a DA who's going to stand up and fight for her.
John,
and
yeah.
we don't have a DA here in Los Angeles who's willing to do that. He doesn't prosecute police killers to the fullest extent of the law. And you have DAs all over the United States who don't believe in doing that. And so we need to call out all of our politicians, all of these
Very well said.
individuals who supported defunding the police. We need to hold them accountable.
John Hatami.